our digital Gavies, Hannah Carroll, Mark Bettman. Did I get it? Okay. Last week, we were beginning to face the horrific realities of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. 1 second, I'm gonna ask that. Can I ask you to hand these out pretty please? Thanks. Can I ask you to hand these out on this side? There we go. Last week, as we were beginning to face the horrific realities of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, where the death count is now over 40,000, I spoke about how we cannot look behind the curtain in an effort to understand God's connection to the ground shaking. We can't try and understand something that's larger than us on a theological level. Theologically, we're not supposed to go there. We're not supposed to try and understand it because we can't. And fittingly, last week's Torah portion with the revelation at Mount Sinai was the perfect portion for us to read, talking about the majesty, the grandeur, the awe that occurs at something like revelation. Now Mount Sinai was in smoke, for the Lord Adonai had come down upon it in fire, and the smoke rose like the smoke of a kiln. The whole mountain trembled violently. The blare of the horn grew louder. As Moses spoke, God answered in thunder. The people were scared. This was a moment in a segment of the Torah that was about God and us. It was massive. It was beyond anything that we ever had or ever would experience again. This was about the moment of experiencing the awe of God's presence in our lives. It set boundaries and conditions of our relationship with God and what that relationship would look like. Last week's parashah was about those things that cannot be explained, but only experienced. And it established that some things are beyond our comprehension. Beyond our comprehension. This week's parashah brings us down to earth, and it forces us to face the reality that God has empowered us to build a world of justice and respect. And when something goes awry, when horrors happen, such as we witnessed at Michigan State University this week's Torah portion tells us bluntly and clearly that this is not about God, but about us. This week's Parashat Mishpatim, puts the onus for preventing and then rectifying such horrors squarely on our shoulders. Over and over, our parashah in great detail lets us know that we must establish a system to protect human beings. Parashat Mishpatim sets out laws for how a society is to function and establish systems to try and protect everyone, from the poorest person to the wealthy landowners and everybody in between. And at the same time, the parasha recognizes there will be times when the system fails because the world is not perfect and we're not perfect. It recognizes that as hard as some people work, some people are going to end up stuck in the cycle of poverty that they can't escape. In our world, the poor have almost no voice at all. They're at the mercy of the wealthy and the powerful. They accept the money they can earn, and they have no recourse if they're abused, taken advantage of, or even enslaved. Getting out of the cycle of poverty is one of the most difficult tasks a person can face, because our economic system keeps the cycle going until an outside intervention is brought in. Every year when we read Parashat Mishpatim, we're reminded of the commandment, Im kesef telaveh et ami et oni imach lo tieh lo kenosher lo teshimun alav neshech. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, don't act as a creditor, don't take interest. Normally, Joyce Sherman would be up here saying this, but she wasn't able to be here. But one of the ways that our community ensures that this important mitzvah is upheld through the community is through the Hebrew Free Loan Association. Hebrew Free Loan Detroit has carried out this Mishpatim commandment by loaning money at 0% interest to Jews across mission since 1895. Hebrew Free Loan partners with borrowers and co-signers to enhance lives. Their free interest loans help with living expenses, dental and medical costs, high interest debt consolidation, transportation, legal fees, home repairs, paying bills, and covering for unexpected. Hebrew Free Loan can provide up to a $20,000 interest-free loan for IVF, fertility, and adoption costs, and up to $100,000 for up to startup expansion to a 51% Jewish-owned business. Finally, Hebrew Free Loan's partnership with William Davidson has created the Jewish College Loan Program, providing $10,000 to $15,000 interest-free loans, renewable each year, full-time Jewish college undergraduate and graduate students. Any financial challenge or life's dreams that Jews across Michigan may be facing could be an opportunity for partnership with Hebrew Free Loan, and they're hoping that we will all spread the word. Hebrew Free Loan understands that the responsibility for relieving the plague of the poverty cycle is something that falls on our shoulders. And they're there to make a difference. But I want to take it a little deeper for a second, and I want to take it more relevant. What do we do if we know that there is a societal danger? If we know that there is a dangerous place, if we know that there is a manhole, a human hole, where they go down into the sewer to inspect or whatever, they put a fence around it. If there's a giant pothole that's going to cause an accident, they put cones around it. Sometimes, Barry says. It's Michigan. They can't do all of them. If you own an ox and it gores another person and kills them, what are we supposed to do? The Torah tells us, when an ox gores a man or woman to death, the ox shall be stoned, its flesh not eaten, but the owner of the ox shall not be punished. But what if that ox was a known danger? It had a reputation for goring. It's a known entity. And if it's not guarded and not kept in its place, if you have a wild dog that has bitten people before and it gets out, if you have an ox that gets out and it's been known to gore, the Torah tells us there very specifically, if, however, that ox had been in the habit of goring and its owner, though warned, has failed to guard it and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned and the owner shall be put to death. I've said it before from up here. You can say I'm a broken record. I have no doubt that I'll probably say it again. But we have a plague of goring oxes, otherwise known as gun violence. And we refused as a society to control that plague. And the fault rests squarely on every one of our shoulders. We didn't pull a trigger. We didn't sell the gun to the person who committed that horror. God forbid we didn't pull the trigger or sell the bullets. But we didn't do enough to prevent the murder of Ariel Anderson and Alexandria Werner and Brian Fraser. We didn't do enough to make sure that our children, grandchildren, friends, students feel safe. In the book of Deuteronomy is the famous phrase, Lo b'shamayim hi lomar mi ale lanu. It's not in the heavens that you should say, who among us can go up to the heavens and get it for us? God has told us in Parshat Mishpatim, this is our job. It's our responsibility. And even more, it's our mission as a holy community to build a world of justice, a world where we take care of one another. As King David wrote in the Psalms, we must build a world of loving kindness. Olam chesed yibaneh. Olam chesed yibaneh. King David understood it. God understood it. And sometimes I think that we might, but far too often we don't. And so I invite you to renew our dedication to building that world. Do you join with me in Cantor B in singing the words that King David wrote and Rabbi Menachem Creditor put to song, and allow our voices, perhaps, to move ourselves to be a little more understanding of our obligation and hopefully carry out into the world.
Olam chesed yibaneh, yadarai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadarai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. I will build this world from love. Yadai, dai, 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 dai. And you must build this world from love. Yadai, dai, 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 dai. And if we build this world from love, yadai, dai, 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 then God will build this world from love. Yadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadai, dai, 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 yadai, dai, dai.